We're live now, so you heard that damn from Ty. I'm Joe. I'm Joe of the Spurs Takeover, and we're here with our special guest, the one and only Jonas Clark, here with me in studio, and we're going to be joined by the lovely and beautiful Benjamin Bornstein,
Oh, that's
and
him.
also we got
Okay.
Ty Yager here joining us from At the Line, and also he's a contributor over there at the Spurs Zone with our good friend Jeff Garcia. So
You're
Yep.
beautiful too, Ty.
yeah, you're beautiful too, Ty.
Thanks. I felt left out when you were calling Ben beautiful, but not me beautiful.
For what
I do have a face for radio after all.
No,
for
I
what
think
it's
I
worth,
think
Ty, that's the first time they've described me that way.
I think Ben has a face for radio.
Damn.
I do too, and so does Jonas.
I
But
definitely do.
yeah, but
That's like,
Ty, you want to go ahead and tell us about your Koala Mills before we start talking about the Spurs? But remember, I told you you're going to talk about it. You got to give us the Australian accent, man.
all right. So before I try to do some stupid accent, here is it. Here's the information right here. But I guess I got to do an Australian accent now.
There you
That's
go. You
gonna be
call that a
interesting.
knife?
Call that knife, mate. It's going to sound like shit, mate. But I swear to God. All right, you get your own Koala Mills acrylic keychain. A portion of the proceeds will go to Wires Wildlife Relief. All right, can I cut with the bullshit?
Yeah, you can cut it, dude.
I know, but Mac and I are doing a project called Koala Mills, which is an acrylic keychain for $15. A portion of the proceeds of your purchase will go to Wires Wildlife Rescue in New South Wales in Australia. We're doing this in an effort to give wildlife relief in Australia after their devastating bushfires. You can pre-order yours today at bit.ly/Koala Mills preorder. That's bit.ly/Koala Mills preorder. No money is needed upfront for pre-orders. Once we do get our product in, we will then request for your payment through PayPal or Cash App, and then we'll ship it out as soon as we get your payment. But you do not need to put any money up front to pre-order yours today. That's bit.ly/Koala Mills preorder for $15 to get your own Koala Mills acrylic keychain.
So, do you have
Nice.
layaway, or can I get financing, dude? Because I don't got $15.
Not with that attitude.
I spend it on beer. I spend it on beer to get through this damn Spurs game, man. So let's just go
Joe,
ahead.
Joe, just for you, we'll do it. We'll set a deal out for just for
Nice.
you.
I might have to go start a
That's
GoFundMe, man,
classy.
to get through this, dude. Oh, look at that! Michael De Leon's watching. He says likes Jonas. He's because he's sporting the Commander's jersey.
Take
Ooh.
command forever, y'all.
Oh,
I
here,
should've-
here we
I
go.
should've
Dude.
got-
R.I.P.
Tim Rodriguez, man. Shout out to you, brother. Thank you for watching, man. He says, "Hey Joe, here we go again. The Spurs play like ass again and blow the lead." No, I think what happened there is we're going to talk about it. We're going to get into it. But the Spurs drop another one on the Rodeo road trip to the Denver Nuggets by a final score of 127 to 120. This one really hurt because at one point in time, our very own San Antonio Spurs were up by 23 points. 23 points. But then the wheels came off in the third quarter as me and Jonas were talking behind the scenes here. I believe it was exactly at the 136 mark. Was it not, Jonas?
It was. You had Derek White going to the free throw line, and the biggest note at that point was Lonnie Walker going out of the game. Subbing in was one Marco Bellinelli, y'all. And
The
then
win the
9-0
winning
run.
percentage at the winning percentage at that time, or the win probability at that time when that score was 93-80, was 92.8% towards the Spurs.
which means Marco Bellinelli coming in the game is 100% loss.
Yep. That's Coach Pop throwing out the white flag, signaling we're done for the night because he left Marco Bellinelli and he left Bryn Forbes out there on the court, not only to end the third, but also in the fourth quarter. I think
For a lot of the fourth
for a
quarter.
lot of the fourth quarter. You know what? I think Coach Pop has fooled all of us. I think Coach Pop is there laughing because maybe he's low key tanking. You know, I mean, why else would you put Marco and Brim out there on the court at the same time? That's just a recipe for disaster. And then we have Lonnie sitting on the bench. I mean, I'm scratching my head, and I just can't understand the logic behind the whole thing. Ben, what was your take on tonight's game, man?
Marco Bellinelli played 19 minutes, which was 19 minutes too many. Um,
Even
Sounds
so
about
one
right.
minute is too many for Marco.
right. So classic, horrible rotations, mismanagement of the roster tonight. Just you put Lonnie Walker in with 26.1 seconds left in the game, and really the game's out of reach. Really, that's kind of disrespectful to me. You can argue, oh well, we thought we had a chance at the game. I think it was 7 or 9 points then, and the Spurs weren't coming back. They weren't hitting shots at that point. So just the way this roster is managed and the way these lineups and rotations are made just makes no sense. And I think Pop is giving us a very, well, it was low key, but after this game, I don't think it's as low key a tank anymore. And it's not even a good tank, because if you were going to tank, you should be losing way more games, and you shouldn't be trying to tell people you're vying for the eighth seed, because you're not.
No, I think they got that 10th but locked up already. This is going to be one of the worst rodeo road trips in recent memory. If they continue and they stay the course, I fully expect them to win 0 games on this rodeo road trip. They're going to go 0-8. And if they go 0-8, you know what that is going to spell for the San Antonio Spurs? It's going to spell their demise. You know, they're not going to go ahead and make the playoffs, so they might as well start just calling up their travel agents and find out what Cancun and Hawaii and all these nice, places are like around the month of March, April, because it doesn't look like they want to make the playoffs, man. I mean, how in the world do you lose a 23-point lead, Ty? What's up with this team?
I'm not sure. Whenever you said a bit, if you think the rodeo road trip is where this trip where the season ends, I say it ends tonight. Just my 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 magic number, I would say, for if the Spurs team was going to make the playoffs or not, was if they were going to fall 5 games or more behind Memphis. Where are they at now in tonight's game? They are 18 games back from the first seed, while Memphis is 13. That makes 5 games. So if you're expecting this team to make the playoffs, you need a miracle run, and you need Memphis or Portland to just start shitting the bed, essentially, if you want the Spurs to make that 8 seed in any way. But I thought this team did a great job through nearly 3 quarters of just hammering it against this Denver team that's kind of been put together with a few of their pieces. They did a great job. I thought they did such a great job going into this game, going into the half, and you just let on a run or two, and suddenly you're falling behind. Your win probability resets back to 0, and you lose a game. Yeah, they had a chance to get back in the game when they had about 2 possession game, but Bryn Forbes wasn't being given the ball. They were really trying to work inside, and he just couldn't get any stops. And I do put blame on Bryn Forbes. Putting Bryn Forbes out there is not going to help you get a defensive stop. While yes, he's going to help you on shooting, but he's not going to give you that defensive stop that you desperately need. And also, you put Marco in for 18 minutes with 0 points, 2 assists, 0 rebounds, and maybe 1 steal for a good plus minus of -18. It's essentially, it's like, if you pardon my French, but what the fuck? How do you let Marco Bellinelli stay in the game when he goes over 3 from the field, 0 points? Yes, I know that DeRozan isn't there, so you need another small forward being in there, but you could be playing Keldon Johnson for all this. Marco Bellinelli showed that he could not play tonight, and he and Pop kept playing him. I don't know why Lonnie Walker didn't go in. Yes, he got a good 26 points, 26 minutes, and with only 4 points. But if you look at the rest of the stat sheet, he had 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and a plus 11 on the plus minus. Lonnie Walker was doing a good job when he was on the floor, especially defensively. Why the fuck you don't play him? Instead, you play Marco over him? I don't know. I'm kind of go with Joe at this point. Pop must be secretly tanking at this point.
Low-key tanking. Well, let's go ahead and read some of our comments here. We have Neil McCauley from Periscope. He says, we missed out on Bojan. And he also said, this is Pop. He assembled this team. Then we have Doris Campanobasco. What's up, Doris? She's always been one of our biggest supporters. She put 4 more losses for the worst Spurs record. This is cursed. Another game that got away, starting strong, finished weak and slow. Team is giving the fans hope, but geez, she's like, you know, she's talking about the actual game itself, how the Spurs went up by 23, gave us false hope, only to go ahead and relinquish the lead in the fourth quarter. But everything started unraveling in that third quarter. At that 1:30 mark, as me and Jonas has shifted from LA to Marco, although Marco isn't putting himself.
I've always hated Marco.
He says,
It's been terrible.
although Marco isn't putting himself in the game for 20 minutes. Linda Frazier says Rudy Gay has been complete ass. Rudy Gay has been complete ass for a while now. I think there's something going on with Rudy. Yeah, he's all right. He was all right.
But there were times he just got killed defensively. Paul Millsap, old man Paul Millsap, who turned 35 today, by the way, absolutely destroyed Rudy Gay when Gay was guarding him. I mean, there's no reason for that. Paul Millsap has never been an athletic player. His game has always been an old man YMCA slow game, and you can't guard that. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. It's the Spurs' inability to play not only defense consistently, but also, as I pointed out to Jonas, and he saw it firsthand, the transition defense was horrible. So, Jonas, go ahead and give us some more of your takes on tonight's game.
I mean, really, what is there? They just blew it.
I'm going to drink another beer to get through this take. So, cheers, brothers.
I'm right ahead of you on that one.
You come into the game, and it was a hot start. LA scored 11 points out of your 19, and you had a 19-11 lead in the first, and then you come into the second half, and what, LA's only up to 19? Where did he disappear in the entire second quarter? This one you can't even really put on the players. I think we've all kind of touched on it, guys. This is just mismanagement of the game between who's on the court and who's not, and I still can't put into a realm that I can understand that Pop is even intentionally tanking low key, because this isn't how you tank low key. But we were talking about it before. Maybe low key is giving Austin guys more time, actually playing Kelvin and saying, "Oh well, he's earned. Pop, you haven't started a rookie this much in the last 20 years. Oh well, he's just earning his time." I think that's a way that you learn and develop. You kind of tank and develop a player low key. But this is just overplaying of your veterans. Why is Marco playing 19 minutes? Why, even if you're low-key tanking, is LaMarcus Aldridge out there for 35 minutes?
Why is Brandon Marco on the same floor at the same time?
There you go. And I'm going to harp on Pop's roster one more time and say 16 minutes for Jakob Poeltl against a top in the league big man in the Joker. Why?
That's another infuriating thing for me is the lack of time that Yager gets to play. Whenever you look at his stats, especially on his advanced stats for the season per 100 possessions, he has one of the best offensive ratings on the team at 125, and then the best defensive rating on the team at 107. Why he doesn't get more playing time is beyond me. Especially whenever like you said, whenever you're going up against teams that have such big guys like Jokic, who can really dominate whenever he's in. Why you're not playing Jakob Poeltl more often is beyond me. He's also one of your best shot blockers. It's infuriating to me. I think they did a good job at letting Lonnie play again 26 minutes, knowing that he was doing better on defense. But to only let Jakob play 15 minutes, when he was still having a good night, 6 points on 100% shooting, you still got to throw him in. You doesn't need to have a body to go up against Jokic.
I got to read some of these comments, man. Some of y'all wilding out here, man, on Facebook.
Everybody's drinking beers tonight, Jeff.
Freaking Rudy Campos, man. What's up, Rudy? He's one of my friends, man. He puts, "I'm the only Rudy that matters in San Antonio tonight."
Nice.
Sergio Lozano from Facebook, he puts, Rudy Gay is too fat and slow for today's game. Oh wow, bro.
I don't know about fat. I mean,
And that's against Jokic. Wow.
Wow.
I did mention that Jokic has a dad bod.
That he does,
Jokic
man.
is-
That he does.
Jokic has gone full dad bod on him.
And Dion 21 from YouTube, he says.
I thought you were about to say P. Diddle.
Oh no. P Dion 21 from YouTube, he says, tear the roster down, F and rebuild. Frank Ramirez says, let's get ready for next season. And Doris says, 2 games in OKC, oh my. Yeah, exactly. My sentiments. Oh my.
So my comment whenever people say to rebuild, that's not the right word at this point. I think people think that this team needs a rebuild. I don't think so. There's only a few pieces that this team needs to replace. This would be technically be called retooling.
Exactly.
Where
There you go.
You need to remove players like Marco, like Rudy Gay, where they're just kind of out. They're older, they're not fitting with the game, and they're not putting up good performances like they have prior. And those are really the only 2 big spots on your team that you need to just replace and adjust. If you replace those 2 players, this team could look much better. And so as a result, whenever you retool, you just replace a handful of players more than the whole roster. Rebuilding the whole roster means you're getting rid of fucking everyone. You're getting rid of Lonnie.
Oh my
getting
God,
rid of DeJounte.
man.
And that's not what everyone
These
wants.
guys are wilding tonight, man. Doris, I love you, Doris. She's crazy, man. She puts can't read these things, man. Y'all are crazy, dude. Oh my God. She puts, let the fans coach this team after the All-Star weekend. Brenda Garza puts, hey Yager, face it, Walker, White, and Murray are just ass.
Whoa.
Wow.
I don't think
no.
we've even seen enough of the 3 of them to call them ass.
Wow.
No, so still looking at the positives tonight, DeJounte Murray had a 14.9 assist game as well as 6 rebounds and 1 steal. 0 turnovers from DeJounte tonight. DeJounte did a great job on his end of the defense. Derek White did not have he still had a good night, but not the best night. 15 points, 20% shooting. His shooting night was just off, but he still had 4 assists. And then again, why I said about
highest score.
Yeah, and then what I said about Lonnie again. He only had 4 points tonight, but he filled up the rest of the box score. 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals. Did have 2 turnovers, but still, this is a guy in his second year, and he put up more stats than Marco tonight. So what? And he has such a better defensive presence than Marco has, than Bryn Forbes has. And look at the first quarter of this game, where they outscored Denver 40-3, and that's why, because Lonnie Walker was out there starting.
Yeah. You know what? Let's go ahead and do this too, Ty. I hate to cut you off, man, but
so just to wrap it up, just to call those three guys ass is you're being naive and you're not looking deeply at this team.
Yeah, it's just Spurs fans getting a little heated, man, because let's face it, I'm a big time Spurs fan, as much of these people who are watching us right now on this live stream are. And the emotions are getting the best of us right now. We're frustrated. We're angry. We want to burn the whole thing down right now because this isn't Spurs basketball that we're seeing. So, Ben, pull me off the ledge, man. What do you have for me, dude?
Here's the thing. If you want to talk about retooling, if you want to talk about finding out what you have, then a good place to start is not playing Rudy Gay and Marco Bellinelli minutes. You give those minutes to Keldon Johnson or a Chimezie Metu so you can see, okay, what do we actually have? Can these guys actually be NBA players? You can only stick a guy in Austin for so long before he has to make his way up to the NBA or before you realize, okay, he's not going to fit in. You have to throw him in some games. And if you're now going to high key tank, if you're not even going to hide it anymore, then you should at least be developing players for the future, which they're not doing right now. The closest thing they've come to doing that is giving Lonnie Walker minutes. And
well, he got the start tonight, so that was something.
Because DeRozan was out.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. But at least
and I will say,
he was considered for the starting position,
And I will say, going into the early part of this game, to have the run and have the first half that you did without your main player at last minute, I thought they did a great job. But then again, the last part of the third quarter and the fourth quarter happened. But I thought they did a good job at first to adapt to that injury.
Yeah. Hey, Rudy has a quick question for you, Ben. Rudy
Hit me.
says, question for Ben. Who is the top target in the draft for the Spurs? Where they stand now?
Oof, that's tough.
You're on the hot seat, Ben.
Yeah, for me, it's a number of guys because they're gonna pick. It kind of depends on which mock drafts you're looking at and where guys are expected to go. But for me, a guy like Onyeka Okongwu from USC is really nice. He's a 6'9" guy who's super long, runs like a gazelle, gets up and down the court, great rim protector, good shot blocker, super athletic, has the makings of someone who can possibly shoot the ball well. So, given a couple years of development, I think he could get there. But he's definitely one of my guys, I would say. If you're looking for another athletic, or if you're looking for a guy who's been kind of moving up the boards, he's more of a big man. Zeke Naji from Arizona, 6'10", also has great hair, by the way. A freshman, so he's young. He's already shown that he can step out and shoot it in the mid-range, so there's no reason to think he can't eventually step out and shoot it from three. But that's a kid I like a lot too. So I'd say kind of if you're looking for big men in this draft, I'd say those two are ideal where the Spurs could be drafting.
Sergio
I think another.
Lozano. Hold on. Sergio Lozano is my spirit animal. He says Spurs picked a shitty time to suck because the draft is going to suck this year.
Yeah, it's not a great draft.
It's not a good draft. Go ahead, Ty. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say one guy that I do like that's been finding the Spurs drafting in some mocks as well as kind of just falling within that range is Obi Toppin.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
That's my
check this out.
guy.
The Drew Show that's joining us from Periscope says, where is he?
He was spending next year in Austin.
No, he says, so the guys are getting a lottery pick. He says 10 to 13 and a down year. Who you guys got? I got nothing for you, man. I really don't even know what to expect this year.
I think the biggest thing.
Obi, if he's there.
I think the biggest thing that I have, just to go back to Ty's comment about the Spurs aren't in a rebuild situation because, like you said, that's a complete explode. But the retool, and when you retool and you look around this roster, they've got pieces. Right? They've got some pieces.
Exactly.
What they're really missing is that next transcendent star. They're missing somebody to take over, and Joe and I were over here checking out the game, and it seems like it could be Lonnie. I think that Lonnie has the potential to be a star before Keldon. Joe's take is more Keldon. Is going to be the next star, maybe even ahead of Lonnie.
I believe in Keldon. I believe in Keldon Johnson.
But there's a lot up the road in Austin, but those guys still aren't ready yet either. You know, as somebody who's watched a ton of their games and covered them a good bit for Project Spurs this year, is just they're still going through similar issues. They don't defend well. They're not, they're giving up 109 points a game. They're still not shooting consistently from the three. They don't have a ton of communication, and it kind of, Keldon's the most consistent piece for them on any given night. But those guys, the rest of them, Luka can go 0 for 11 as he has done at one point this season, and he can go on and tear for 28 points. Keldon at this point, I think he's shown that he can handle the G League, which is where I think you make that argument for giving him, like you said, Ben, more of maybe Marco's minutes, just to get him runtime and see what you really have in this guy. We're approaching the time of year where last year Lonnie started to get a little bit more of that treatment from Pop, and so I would expect and hope that we're going to see Keldon get a little bit more time. But for him to post 0 minutes tonight while being on the bench, that's like we've come to. That's not even really low key tanking.
Hey, check this out, guys. We have Joanne Hernandez. I appreciate your comment, Joanne. She's a frequent contributor here to us on the Spurs Takeover. She's always tuning in. She says, "I think it might be time for Pop to retire."
No, whenever he wants to. 5 banners gives you whenever you feel like walking out the door. Nobody can ask you to retire. Nobody can suggest you to retire. 5 banners in 20 years gives you that right.
And people don't hate him personally like they did Phil Jackson.
Oh, yeah,
true,
man.
But to pull from Joel Embiid tonight, talking of, a little quote from The Dark Knight Rises, You either leave as a hero or you stay long enough to become the villain. He might be alluding to other things, but I don't think that Pop could work his way into being a villain. But the attitude and the emotion toward him, you can definitely feel has soured over at least the last year and a half.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say something here, and I'm going to go ahead and pitch it to Ben and then to Ty. Right now, my observations, Ben, this Spurs team is lacking a true closer. We've seen that over the course of the last couple of seasons. They don't have a true closer. Once we lost the Deuce, and he requested a trade and he left, it left a big gaping hole here. And I think we're still seeing the ramifications of that. So, I mean, what do we do to try to rectify that, Ben?
I'm not sure you can. Your closer is whoever is hot that night. And the Spurs are going to be unable to go out and get a free agent because really no matter what happens this offseason, their money is tied up in a bunch of different players, and they have to look for the summer of 21 before they can really get some cap relief and possibly sign someone. So it's hard and it's brutal, and the front office didn't do themselves any favors with contracts they gave out, and the Pau Gasol one comes to mind, and Patty Mills' contract comes to mind. So
similar contract.
And Rudy got kind of a brutal contract. Everybody thought it was fine at the time, but he hasn't really played up to it recently, so that makes it tough as well. But if you're the Spurs, it's kind of whoever has the hot hand that night. That's our closer that night. I think that's just what you have to go with at this point.
Wow, we have Karen Blanco here. She's giving some shade over here to Jonas. She goes, like your Commanders jersey, but we all know why they got shut down. They were ass. Wow, Jonas.
Karen, that's a conversation for another time. If you want to,
wow,
if you want to talk about
aggressive.
it, at Jark Clonus on Twitter. I'll definitely chat with you.
Wow. And Rudy says maybe Spurs Sports and Entertainment will sell Pop to Vegas. Oh God, Rudy.
Bruh.
I thought that was pretty cold-hearted.
Too soon.
Cold-blooded right there.
I think
You hate
Rudy's
to
been
see
hitting
it.
the beer a little bit. I think you've been hitting the beer a little bit too, Rudy.
Pop has earned his right to walk away whenever he wants to, and whatever it is going on with this team right now, there's thoughts that this is his farewell tour. There's thoughts that he's just milking his contract while he's got it. I don't think it's really either. But the whole thing is, and this is just the mystery of the San Antonio Spurs, is we really don't know because they don't tell us. They're not going to tell us either way, and so we're just left in this wondering, which makes the losing all that more difficult. Because, and I know that we've been asking for it multiple times, over the course of this season and last season, is what's the direction? At least give us a reason why we're losing. Tell us we're tanking, and we can accept that we're tanking, and give us the young guys, at least give the fans something to see and enjoy that. But I don't know.
You know what? I think you had brought it up, Jonas, earlier. I was like maybe in the third quarter, fourth quarter, when we're kind of talking behind the scenes here. Joel M. Colon, he says, can Pop work his way into a villain? Dude is laughing. He's the only one with he's the only one with a fire under his ass. Even Pop doesn't give a what. That's Sergio Lozano.
He can't work his way to being a villain again because 5 banners. This comes from a guy, okay, yes, I'm wearing a Commanders jersey, but I'm a Browns fan. I'm an Indians fan outside of this because I'm from Cleveland. I can't support the Commanders.
Wow.
I'm a Spurs fan when it comes to basketball, but you talk about not winning and going through an entire lifetime of not experiencing a championship, from my home area, that's he's earned his right through 5 banners. I'm going to keep repeating that because it's not. We're only 6 years removed from 2014 title. This is not even a comprehensible level of despair in San Antonio right now. Like it's just not. It's a hard time. You're down on your luck, but guys, we were in the Western Conference Finals in 2016. Like,
you know what this is, Jonas?
Really? What?
This is going from eating prime rib to now going eating Hill Country Fair, bro. That's what the
Yikes.
damn Spurs have reduced themselves to. They're not even name brand anymore. They're Hill
Okay,
Country Fair, dude.
but even I mean, guys, if we're tanking, can San Antonio really embrace and handle a tank? If we can't even comprehend not reaching 40 wins on accident, can we handle 15 wins on purpose to get a top pick overall? No, we can't. We just can't.
Tim Rodriguez, bro. this dude has me laughing, man. He says, "Hey Joe, imagine Timmy thinking how ass this team is watching this."
We kind of talked about that tonight. Did you guys
We
see,
did.
Did you guys see Tim Duncan like off of his chair tonight a little bit coaching? I've been asking for it all season.
Oh man! And then what is it? It says Joel Colon says, "Bro, Bill Belichick gets after his players still to this day. He's still passionate. I guess now they're starting to question Coach Pop's passion. You know, because he's not getting up there and yelling at people's, and getting in people's faces and screaming and yelling and doing Coach Pop things like he used to.
Because, well, the problem is the players today are much different. You got a bunch of
Say it,
millennials.
man. They're kind of soft. They're kind of soft. now.
Yeah, you got a bunch of millennials, and you got a group of guys who don't respond
insulted.
to that coaching. I mean, I'm sorry if that triggers you, but
I'm
you know,
triggered.
they're
Triggered.
exactly. I mean, they're just players who don't respond to his kind of coaching, and that's the problem. I'm sure he would love to coach that way, but he knows he won't get anything out of people if he coaches them that way. You don't have Tony Parkers and Tim Duncans and Manu Ginobili's who suck it up and say, okay, well, if I show I can get coached hard by Popovich, then the rest of the team has to do that. I'm telling you, LaMarcus Aldridge ain't that guy.
That he is not.
But to me, it's more of, again, whenever you look at the roster and you look at the stats, the people that are getting minutes that are contributing absolutely nothing are guys like Rudy Gay and Patty Mills. It's
Right.
Patty Mills, not Patty Mills, and Marco Bellinelli. I think Patty Mills still contributes as best as he can. But Marco Bellinelli and Rudy Gay, it's just those older veterans that I don't think would take coaching much easier than some of these younger guys. I see Lonnie still making adjustments. I think Derek White and DeJounte do the best that they can with the people that are around them, but it's more these older veterans that are bringing nothing to the table, that aren't adjusting their game to improve the team overall.
And they all came from the outside. Again, like DeMar DeRozan came via trade, LA came via free agent signing, and Rudy Gay came via free agent signing. If you talk about how the way the Spurs was built was through the draft, and we prided ourselves on that for years. Why would you expect guys who just kind of ended up in your lap to really embrace the coaching?
I don't know, but does anybody else feel the live stream spinning, or is it just me?
Oh boy, Joe's hit that point.
What's the time I'm playing with you guys? I gotta throw some humor in here, man.
I will say from LaMarcus, though, I do have to commend him for improving his game overall this season with his three-point shot. And I think that's helped the team tremendously in some aspects. And you saw it from the first half tonight, where this team was just kind of killing it when LMA was killing it. And I do say that I think LMA is still a key part. And I do give him credit for improving his game even in a shitty-ass season.
Whenever they put Jokic in a pick and roll, they killed him because Jokic either stayed with the ball handler, as did the other guard who was guarding the ball handler, leaving LaMarcus Aldridge open for threes, or he just wasn't quick enough to get back to Aldridge, and he still got his shot. So,
and that has a fall on coaching, though, because as a coach, you need to see that, oh shit, that's not working. Oh, that kind of having LMA trying to guard Jokic on a pick and roll. A pick and roll is already hard to guard, but seeing that Jokic is being successful, you need to adjust mid-game, and that's what Pop is not doing in this case.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if it has more to do with Coach Pop not adjusting. I think that might have to do more with the inexperience at times with the personnel that's out there on the court. We forget that we have a lot of young players out there.
Yeah.
We have them mixed in with the veterans, but unfortunately, these younger players still need to go out there and have that experience. And I think that's the frustrating part for all Spurs fans right now, is that they're used to their veterans and even their up-and-comers performing at a high level. Unfortunately, we just don't see that this season. And now it's more prevalent for everybody out there to see, especially when we go up by big leads as 23 points, we went up by tonight, and then we just squandered that in the third and fourth quarters.
That's because there's no superstar to cover up the growing pains.
Yep, exactly.
Well, the other thing is on defense. I think that their scheme for defense is just horrible. They have too many guys who are sagging off 3-point shooters to try and help on a drive, and it's like, give up a drive. Who cares? Give up the drive as opposed to an open three in a league where everyone is shooting threes and they're shooting them considerably better now.
And
who cares about a drive? Give up the two then. Make him make the drive. Make him make a contested layup. Fine.
And the switches I see are just confusing at times. Where like there's a switch tonight that I know it was a pick and roll, but LMA got switched onto Jamal Murray and then Bryn Forbes onto Jokic. I'm like, shit, this is not going to go well. They just give the ball to Jokic and he'll work Bryn, but somehow it got switched back to LMA on Jokic and Bryn on Jamal Murray. But still, that's a weird switch, and you continuously see those throughout the games.
Yep.
And I still don't understand, why do you put Bryn Forbes on guys like Jamal Murray who go off like that?
No,
that's where DeJounte's assignment should honestly be. And that shows another warning sign or another concern that if you're putting Bryn Forbes in, why are you putting him against the best shooters in the league whenever you know that he struggles with perimeter defense?
Yeah, let me read a comment from our good friend Rudy Campos. He puts, no disrespect to anyone, but LMA improved his game because he is just showcasing his improved shot for other teams.
Well, tough luck for LMA because he's still signed for, another year or two?
Fully guaranteed.
Yeah, another year.
Fully guaranteed.
I mean, DeMar, sure, you could say that he's having the season that he's having showcasing because it's a player option this year. But LaMarcus makes no sense to be advertising himself for anybody else but himself at this point, just to show that he maybe still has it. But we own his rights, and that's what it is.
Yeah, I think at this point, what's going to happen more realistically is we're going to have a DeMar DeRozan really go and shop, around and see what his value is. Ultimately, I believe that the Spurs are the team that will probably be able to offer him the most money, but I think his big thing is going to be the number of years that he's going to want. I don't see the Spurs giving him a big contract beyond 3 years, with that third year being an option.
They shouldn't give him another contract at all.
True enough, but I mean, we just never know what's going to happen or what's going to transpire in this offseason. I mean, they already locked up pretty much LMA, which he hate him or love him, he's here to stay for the next year or two.
They could trade him.
He's here for the next year, but you also got to remember 2021 is a major free agent class. This free agent class is going to be very weak, and so the money not being open this year shouldn't really be surprising nor worrisome to some people, just because if you look at this free agent class, it's going to be very weak. But look at the net 2021, where most of these contracts expire. Even if DeMar takes his player option, that expires at the end of 2021. LMA's ends at 2021. There's a lot of contracts that end in 2021 where you have a major free agent class, and you'll have a lot more money opened up to get big name free agents if you need to, aka Giannis Antetokounmpo if he becomes one.
Yeah, we're not going to get him. I don't think we're going to be able to offer him the amount of money, nor do we.
Not with that attitude, Joe.
No, we don't have the money.
Jeez, Joe.
We don't have the money, and we don't have the market for him. I think he's going to want to go for a bigger market. He's going to want to go for a bigger market. You think he's going to want to play for the Bucks forever?
Yeah, he said as much.
Yeah.
He said he loves Milwaukee.
Just like Kawhi Leonard said, he loves San Antonio. He wanted to stay in San Antonio.
I don't know if Kawhi Leonard actually ever said anything. I'm pretty sure that was a robot voice box that was.
But going back to the money situation, yeah, they have 118 million tied up for this next season for 2020 and 21. But when you look at the 21-22 season, they only have $31 million tied up, and that's not even counting a Derek White possible extension, a Yager extension. That's a lot of money to be working with when it comes to 2020 to 21-22. And also add on that you might be able to get rid of DeMar Carroll's contract at the end, which is only partially guaranteed for that season as well.
And
so there's a lot of money that's opened up, and you can be having a large free agent pool when it comes to that. With all that money you will have available in 2021,
and all that youth coming up.
Yep, all the youth. Joanne Hernandez said something that really kind of caught my eye. She says we're never going to get a big name free agent here, or big superstars to come in and sign for the San Antonio Spurs or sign with us. And I'm like, do we really need them though? We have superstars in the making in the G League, and right now we have some young players that are starting to get experience, and we don't know what their future is gonna hold for them with one Jacoporto and the rest of the guys.
And the thing I think is, though, I don't think we've seen big free agents be signed in San Antonio just because the money situation wasn't there. And you're about to come up to a year that money situation is wide open. And even as people say, oh, the Spurs don't get the biggest free agents, LaMarcus Aldridge was one of the biggest free agents in his free agent class when he became available. And guess who he signed with? He signed with San Antonio. So whenever you only have $31 million tied up for 2021. That's before, like I said before, a Derek White extension, a Yager extension. That's a lot of money to be offering to people, and people don't really. It seems people don't care to go some places. If they see the money, they'll happily go. And that season, the Spurs will have more than enough money to offer.
That and the opportunity to be showcased on a team. I think that when you look at past free agent classes too, I mean, we just got done with Manu and Tony in the last 2 years, and that would have had the essence of overshadowing, I think, any star that you bring in. Before that, it was Tim's team. Nobody you bring in is going to overshadow Tim. We're left without an identity right now. So you can sell that to any free agent looking to come to San Antonio. It's just, you can be the face of the Spurs.
Yeah, look at this. We've got somebody calling out R.C. Buford now. Paul Garcia on YouTube says, hey, Joe, can we point out how ass R.C. Buford has been the last few years? I think it has more to do with a lot of other factors besides the Spurs front office.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think there's more factors than just R.C. Buford not doing it. Look at the draft talent that the Spurs have drafted in the past 3-4 years.
Oh yes.
Then you also look at the situation that they've ran into with Kawhi forcing his way out, forcing a trade, and that's why last season I gave it a grain of salt. And then this season it's kind of iffy still, but it's also still a contract built off of trying to rebuild from Kawhi Leonard. But again, looking at 2021, looking the free agents there, it looks pretty damn good. You got Kawhi Leonard. You never know, you can make a comeback. But you got Paul George, Gordon Hayward.
But would you welcome him with open arms, Ben, if Kawhi wanted back in San Antonio?
Yeah, probably.
You would have welcomed him back with open arms. Him and Uncle Dennis.
Winning.
Uncle Dennis can shove it. Uncle Dennis can shove it. We'll take Kawhi.
But other guys that could easily have potential: Anthony Davis, Giannis could be a possible free agent. Victor Oladipo, which is one of my favorites out from.
You don't want Anthony Davis.
You never trust a man with the unibrow, Ty.
No,
never
I say
trust
Victor
a man
Oladipo,
with the unibrow.
Not Anthony Davis. The same VO. I say VO is one of my favorites.
Okay.
Yeah.
Never trust a man with a unibrow, and never trust a man in a tunic.
But again, all of these names on this 2021 free agent list, they're big names, and they're names that could really help this team. And having all that money freed up, that's going to be an advantage. So while you got to look at the retooling, you got to look at the money situation. The money situation looks good, and in the upcoming, not for next season, but the season after, it's going to look pretty damn good.
Yeah. I wouldn't count on VO. He likes Indiana too much.
Yeah, Rudy's not a fan of the fake number 2. He's had enough. He's had enough of Kawhi.
Seems right.
Yeah, so he won't welcome Kawhi back with open arms. V wanted back in SA. Oh, Wesley Perkins says Spurs' bigger problems are trying to keep their young talent from bolting again. Spurs hurt, but the deuce and again by Morris spurning them.
Again, Kawhi was something else, and then Morris, I think that was a whole different situation. If you look at the quotes that he's been saying, he said his agent did something different that he didn't want. Then he got more money in New York, and then eventually got dished out to LA, which is looking what he wanted to do. I don't think Marcus Morris was completely in control when he said, oh, let's go sign with San Antonio. But then he saw this other opportunity and had a whole big scheme for it. I don't think Marcus Morris is a very specific character, and I wouldn't.
He's a
I
child.
don't
He's
think
just a dumbass, is what he is, because
I was,
he
I was
spurned
putting
the
it, I was putting it in
Spurs.
nice terms.
He spurned the Spurs in favor of going to New York, and then he got his ass traded from New York and winded up in L.A.
That's what he wanted.
That's what he
Right.
wanted.
That's what he wanted the whole
That's what
damn
he wa-
time. Exactly, man.
Yeah.
I see.
So
sir.
again, but so I don't blame Marcus Morris on that because I don't think any blame should be saying, oh, Spurs can't get guys from that Marcus Morris stuff, because that's a whole fucking different situation.
Right.
Yeah. The only one I feel sorry for in this whole fiasco was Davis Bertans. Everybody hated on Davis Bertans last season. Now that he's not with the team anymore, you see how porous we are on that wing. You know, everybody's just dropping dimes on us from beyond the arc like crazy. And we don't have a really good, consistent three-point shooter out there.
But would he even improve this defense? Because he has one of the worst defensive ratings
He probably
in the
wouldn't have
league.
improved the defense significantly, but at least it might have just been a body to throw up some arms.
Dude, the thing about Davis is we replaced Davis with Damari Carroll. Okay.
And
Who
he's not
gets
even
nothing?
playing.
Does not
Yeah,
play.
Exactly. But he fills that exact same role. He's an outside perimeter defender who can hit the three consistently, but we're just not using that guy. So to call Davis a casualty in the Marcus Morris deal, I don't really think so. I think we replaced him pretty well with Damari Carroll, but it just is what it is.
He just wasn't
We're not
used.
playing him. Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
but what did Damari Carroll do that
This
was so bad that he's not getting any run, man?
I don't know. This has gotten out of hand, though. I know that much.
I honestly can't wait till he gets bought out or traded just so he can publicly speak about it.
He put
Yeah.
some tweets out today. He put a tweet out today.
Well, he's been
Cryptic.
all
cryptic.
over his Instagram story and Twitter and everything, just not saying anything but trying to say something.
You know what? I kind of admire him for kind of speaking without speaking, because at least he's not throwing shade outright. At least he's just trying to speak his mind and just say how he's feeling, because as frustrating as it is for us Spurs fans wanting him to play because he's the fifth highest paid player on the team and not getting any run, can you imagine how he feels by just not even being in the game, just sitting down, not even, you know, on the bench at times? It seems like, you know, he's just not even on the DNP list on the stat sheet.
Well,
you
that's
know?
because his value's getting hurt. What's he
Yeah.
going to have to advertise to another team in a year or two when they're going to say you missed an entire season, you couldn't play with the Spurs?
Exactly. So I don't know
He's
what's
gonna
going
well,
on.
he's gonna say I practiced and kept in shape for an entire year and didn't
Yeah.
use any tread on the wheels.
That's very true. There you
Exactly,
go.
man. So I don't know what's going on
he-
with that whole fiasco, though.
He just tweeted Damari Carroll is the most positive person I've ever seen through Twitter, and he tweeted out 3 minutes ago, everybody, the reason I'm so positive because my career has been a grind. Things will work out in my favor. God got me. Thanks for the support. 100% emoji, then praying emoji.
We're praying
Classic.
for you too, Damari.
Yeah, we're praying for you, Damari. We can use some help, man. I don't know why he's not getting any run. That's going to be one of the big question marks of this whole season. Why is your fifth highest paid player on the team just not getting any run?
Well, not even that. Throw the money out of it. Again, he fills a role that we're lacking
A defensive role
right
yeah.
now. We're just lacking what he provides. But tonight was just garbage.
Yeah, tonight the Spurs just stunk it up, man. It's hard to see, it's hard to experience, and as Spurs fans, I think we've all just had our hearts torn out, our backs broken, just like Batman with Bane. You know, he broke our backs. This, I think, was the end of the season. Basically, this loss to the Nuggets. I think the Spurs, if they had any fight in them, they just probably left it out there all on the court tonight. I actually see this team going 0 for 8 on this Rodeo road trip, coming
Thanks.
back, and then that's it. You know, the season's pretty much over at this juncture.
Well, you can't even finish 500 for the road trip
Yeah.
because tonight was game 5.
And after tomorrow night's game, that's it for the rest of the week. Then they go and hit the All-Star break and come
Thank
back.
God.
And I mean, it's just going to be bad the rest of the way out. I mean, I don't even really care to watch the games anymore. It's just so disheartening, and it hurts watching what this team has digressed to. because we all had high hopes for them coming into the season. They just have not lived up to expectations. Why that has happened, we will never know, but it's hard to watch out there. That's all I can say about that.
Yeah.
And we're going to go ahead and start bringing this to an end already because we've been rambling on for almost near an hour, and Ben's got to get some sleep. So
Facts. East Coast
You
problems.
and me
exactly, man. So
How dare you be on the East Coast? Get
Yeah.
better.
Indeed. I dare hard.
both.
Is it Ben's like, don't come at me, youngin.
Get off my lawn, man.
Don't you come at
Get off
me,
your
you
digital
millennial.
lawn. How dare you?
That's right.
All right, Ben. So we're gonna go ahead and start bringing this to an end. So in closing, anything you'd like to share with us?
You can find me on Twitter at _Boomstein. I enjoy talking college basketball prospects. That's where I live. I'm a college basketball junkie, an addict, if you will. Hook it straight into my veins. I live for it. I happen to enjoy the Spurs because I was born there, so I follow the Spurs as well. And this year they are making me very sad.
Yep. The only thing we got to look forward to is March Madness.
Yes.
And if Rudy's watching, Rudy's a big North Carolina fan, and unfortunately, they
Oh, they're
lost
not.
a
Sorry, buddy.
they
They're
lost a
not going
big
to be in
game.
the tournament.
They lost a big game to Duke, and I saw that game.
I should have won that game.
Hey, you're preaching to the choir, man. I'm sure we got to pour some out for Rudy, man, if he's still watching. So Ty, where can they find you on social media?
Well, Ben's gonna have to keep me up with all the prospects because I'm gonna need some. I need some information for this upcoming draft. So I'm gonna be talking with you some more.
I got
But
you.
if you guys want to donate or purchase your Koala Mills keychain, all the information's up there. Again, Koala Mills $15 acrylic keychain. A portion of your purchase will go towards wires in New South Wales towards wildlife relief amongst the bushfire devastation disaster that's going on in Australia. You can find that at bit.ly/Koala Mills. Pre-order to get your very own. We have plenty still left, and also first 45 orders get a special sticker along with it. So go order yours today at that link. You can also find out on my Twitter at Yager Radio. That's Ty Jager Radio. You can find my podcast at The Lion Pod.
So if
Nice.
you all sell 100 keychains, do we get Mac dressed up as a koala?
Yes.
You know what? Yes. Yes. I will make this happen. I will make this happen. I will get Mac dressed as a koala if we can get 100 Koala Mill keychains pre-ordered and or sold. Again, also to mention, to pre-order, you do not need any money up front. To just pre-order, I just need the information as well as anything for PayPal or Cash App. You do not need to put any money up front to pre-order.
Yeah, I don't got no money right now. I spend it on beer. I spent my money on beer, so I might have to put this one on layaway, Jonas.
Nah,
But-
there you go. Ty said they'll make the exception for you.
There you go. But before we go ahead and end this one, where can they find you on social media, Jonas?
Really, it's just on Twitter at JarkClonus, JarkClonas. New piece out there with Project Spurs today, celebrating Kelvin Johnson's naming to the Western Conference mid-season All-Star games or all G League team selection. Sorry, they're not using the term All-Star. But all G League team mid-season selection. Congratulations to Kelvin Johnson. We don't have an all-star, but we do have an all G League team
NBA
member.
or G.
And we'll take it. We'll take it. There's a question out there. Really seriously, I want to know: do you think that Keldon should have even played half the season to this point with the Austin Spurs to even be eligible for that award or that nomination, rather, that selection to the team? Because you do have to play half the season to this point with your G League affiliate. Obviously, we could have probably used his help in San Antonio, especially for low-key tanking pop. But at JarkClonus on Twitter, let's talk about it. Karen, follow me and hit me up. Let's talk about Commanders because I love them hardcore. And yeah, so everything there.
Yeah, and you can also find me at Two Shots Podcast, and it's all spelled out TWOSHOTS Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and on YouTube. We do have a YouTube channel where you can watch the replay of the Spurs takeover and also watch the previous shows that we have done here with Ben and Jonas and Wesley and Stephen A. Anderson of
And
Project
Ty.
Spurs. Oh, and Ty, Ty was the first. This is the first time we've had Ty on.
I'll
So
take it.
there we go. We'll probably have
Even
him on.
after a horrible loss, I'll still take it.
There you go. So make sure you go ahead and also check out all the great Spurs content over at projectspurs.com. And also for your local sports content, make sure you check out Project Spurs Network and all the great work that they do out there. So for Ty Yager and Benjamin Bornstein and Jonas Clark, I'm Joe Garcia. Thank you guys for watching another episode of the Spurs Takeover. And like we always say, spread the love, stop the hate, and be kind. We're out. Peace.